Hey, what's up you guys, it's Dorothy and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to go into part 4 of chapter 5 of the Mothers and Daughters of the Bible Speak by Shannon Bream. So let's get right into this video. This video is going to contain topics of the Bible. If you do not wish to continue, I suggest you click off the video now. You have been warned. She told him that Aden was behaving as king, and you, my lord the king, do not know about it. And then she showed him a way to gain his pride and his honor back, reminding him that the eyes of all of Israel are on you. Perhaps she was appealing to his past, when he was the center of attention, a glamorous young war captain cheered by the women of Jerusalem. But she also knew David's awareness that his voice still carried weight in Israel. Bathsheba knew very well what she was doing and exactly which buttons to push. What could this change in Bathsheba mean? For one thing, of course, she was older and surer of herself, but if she was largely silent before, it was because she had only herself to advocate for. Now she was a mother, and in defense of her son, Solomon, she had become fearless. How ironic that Bathsheba made an alliance with the very man who confronted David about his shameful sin in taking Bathsheba and having her husband killed. It's clear she had a fondness for him, having named one of her other sons Nathan. Right on cue, Nathan showed up and repeated the story. Aden was declaring himself king, celebrating lavishly, and putting together his new administration while David was on his deathbed. David jumped into action before it was too late, saying before Bathsheba, the king then took an oath, "As surely as the Lord lives, who has delivered me out of every trouble, I will surely carry out this very day what I swore to you by the Lord, the God of Israel. Solomon your son shall be king after me, and he will sit on my throne in my place." 1 Kings 1:29-30. And to make it official, David called in some of his most trusted men, including Nathan. He said to them, "Take your Lord's servants with you, and have Solomon my son mount my own mule and take him down to Gihon. There have Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet anoint him king over Israel. Blow the trumpet and shout, 'Long live the King Solomon.' Then you are to go up with him, and he is to come and sit on my throne and reign in my place. I have appointed him ruler over Israel and Judah." 1 Kings 1:33-35. David left no room for discussion, and Solomon became king. It was the worst possible news for the feasting Aden and his guests. At this, all Aden's guests rose in alarm and dispersed, but Aden, in fear of Solomon, went and took hold of the horns of the altar. 1 Kings 1:49-50. The game was over, and anyone allied with him was now in real trouble. Going to cling to the horns of the altar in the tabernacle was basically a last-ditch effort at not being killed, a place of safety, and so the negotiations began. Then Solomon was told, "Aden is afraid of King Solomon and is clinging to the horns of the altar. He says, 'Let King Solomon swear to me today that he will not put his servant to death with a sword.'" Solomon replied, "If he shows himself to be worthy, not an hair on his head will fall to the ground, but if evil is found in him, he will die." 1 Kings 1:51-52. With a deal in place to spare his life, Aden was permitted to return home safely, but he would soon reveal himself to be less than wise. After David's death and Solomon was busy cementing his hold on the throne, something fascinating happened. Bathsheba was petitioned by Aden himself. Now Aden, the son of Haggith, went to Bathsheba, Solomon's mother. Bathsheba asked him, "Do you come peacefully?" He answered, "Yes, peacefully." Then he added, "I have something to say to you." "You may say it," she replied. "As you know," he said, "the kingdom was mine. All Israel looked to me as their king, but things changed, and the kingdom has gone to my brother, for it has come to him from the Lord. Now I have one request to make of you. Do not refuse me." "You may make it," she said. So he continued, "Please ask King Solomon. He will not refuse you to give me Abishag the Shunammite as my wife." "Very well," Bathsheba replied, "I will speak to the king for you." 1 Kings 2:13-18. This may seem like an odd but relatively unobtrusive request to us. David had not slept with this young woman, but remember, she was considered part of David's kingdom, his kingdom. In those days, taking possession of someone's harem or wives was seen as a power grab. Aden knew he couldn't approach King Solomon with a request like that. Aden's not very smart. Plan meant that he would need someone the king trusted to be his advocate, and whom did Solomon trust more than his mother? Bathsheba had become not just the mother of the king, but also the most trusted counselor. If you wanted something done, the implication is you had to go through her. She probably had a line of people waiting at her door every morning, hoping to persuade her to take their petitions to the king. Bathsheba had clearly become a force to be reckoned with in the kingdom. What could account for this change? The idea that the mother of the king exercised special prerogatives appears nowhere in the Bible. Before Bathsheba, in fact, the name of King David's mother never even appears in the Bible at all. Adon and Abisham are mentioned as being the sons of David's wife Haggith, but she never makes an appearance in the story either. So Bathsheba's prominence has but one explanation: her son Solomon. For reasons we can only speculate about, the bond between Bathsheba and Solomon must have been an extraordinary one. Look at how King Solomon greeted his mother when she entered his presence. When Bathsheba went to King Solomon to speak to him for Adon, the king stood up to meet her, bowed down to her, and sat down on his throne. He had a throne brought for the king's mother, and she sat down at his right hand. I have one small request to make of you, she said. Do not refuse me. The king replied, Make it, my mother. I will not refuse you. 1 Kings 2:19-20. Solomon immediately saw Adon's bid to marry Abishag as just more rebellious plotting on his brother's part. Though scripture doesn't tell us, I often wonder whether Bathsheba knew that's exactly how Adon's appeal would come across to Solomon, making her happy to deliver an inappropriate request. And even though Solomon wouldn't fulfill his mother's request, he had no anger toward her. Look at how he had treated Bathsheba upon her arrival. He had a throne brought in just for her, and she sat at his right hand, the place of honor reserved for the king's chief counselor. This position of the honored queen mother was new. After all, the first two kings of Israel, Saul and David, had come from obscurity with heralded parents, but it seems Bathsheba's entire adult life had taken place in the world of palaces and kings. Despite her difficult start, she had finally received a throne of her own. This is the love of a son for a mother whose devotion to him he has seen over and over again throughout the years. Were Bathsheba and the beloved Solomon treated as outsiders in the court of King David? Were they the targets of resentment? She may have felt like the cloud covered the bond between her and David even before David's full treachery came to light, and to have a son pour her love into after such grief and loss must have been healing for her. It appears Bathsheba and Solomon's bond may have elevated the mothers of kings to a new place of prominence. If you follow the rest of the book of Kings, and it's a long list of the rulers of Judah, the introduction of each king follows a certain formula. Take a look at Solomon's son, Rehoboam. Rehoboam, son of Solomon, was king in Judah. He was 41 years old when he became king, and he reigned 17 years in Jerusalem, the city the Lord had chosen out of all the tribes of Israel in which to put his name. His mother's name was Naamah. She was an Ammonite. 1 Kings 14:21. And look at Rehoboam's son, Abijah. In the 18th year of the reign of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, Abijah became king of Judah, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 years. His mother's name was Maacah, daughter of Abisham. Okay. 1 Kings 15:1-2. It goes on like that all through the book of Kings, right down to the very last king of Judah, hundreds of years later. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 11 years. His mother's name was Hamutal, daughter of Jeremiah. She was from Libnah. 2 Kings 24:18. From the point on, in every single introduction of a king of Judah, the mother's name is mentioned alongside the king's. In fact, the term queen in the records of kings of Judah means not the king's wife, but the king's mother. Such was the honor paid by Solomon to his mother, and the tradition of the queen mother was forever ingrained in the story of Israel. Sometimes, as a mother, you may think that all of your devotion to your children, all the countless hours spent making lunches, or driving to doctor's appointments and sports practices, or organizing meals and vacation and laundry, has gone unnoticed. The kids pile out of the car without a backward glance or a thank you, and it can seem like none of it matters. Bathsheba probably had those days with Solomon, but it's clear her son treasured her counsel and care. If you were a mother, you were constantly planting seeds of love and guidance, though you may sometimes wonder if you'll see the fruit of this side of heaven. For Bathsheba, who walked through devastating loss and the death of her first son, part of her reward was the joy of seeing Solomon seated on the throne, which was largely the result of her willingness to speak up and intervene with the help of Nathan. What might have happened to Israel under Adon's rule? Instead, the nation was led by a man often called the wisest to ever live. In 1 Kings 3, we see the Lord was pleased and said to Solomon, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." 1 Kings 3:5. Here's how their conversation went. And I'm going to leave it off right there, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.